Hi, everybody. Amy Conley here with United Way of Door County. We are doing our series of interviews with our strategic partners, the programs that we grant dollars to this year in 2021, wanting to give all of you a little more insight into what donor dollars are doing here in our community and to better understand what's really going on in our community. So many of the services that we grant dollars to kind of are hidden, and I think this one that we're going to feature today is a good example of that. With me today is Millie Gonzalez. Millie, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Millie Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Help of Door County.
Wonderful. So our last two videos with Millie, we talked about domestic violence services. And then the second one, we talked about visitation and exchange. Today, we're going to talk about a newly named program, right? So a program that's been around for a while, but it has a new name, and the new name is Domestic Violence Intervention Program. So
Yeah.
Millie, what is that? That's a mouthful,
Yeah.
right?
So previously, our DVIP program was known as our Violence Intervention Services. So people in our community would have known it as ATV, Alternatives to Violence, for um, males who have offended or have gotten arrested for domestic violence. And then our women's programming, which was known as WEAVE, Women Ending Abuse and Violence, for the same reason. So women who have been arrested on charges. The bulk are court mandated. We do at times have referrals from attorneys, probation and parole, and knowing that we're working really close within the criminal justice system to make sure that we're doing this intervention piece of that, right? So there a lot has happened within this program for the last couple months, and I know that there have been a lot of questions, and I've been receiving a lot of phone calls of what's going on with ATV and Weave, and we've been letting them know we're doing a lot of foundational work. So we've done a really huge revamping of the program to make sure that the services that we're giving are top notch, are where they need to be, that our new facilitators are fully trained in what they're doing, and to make sure that those services that we're giving to the community are where they have to be. And
Okay.
part of that is also changing mindset. So one of the first things we did was kind of take the gender language outside of the programming, right? So we'll do an orientation and we'll know what group is better for you.
Yeah.
And then also understanding we're not trying to stigmatize those who do abuse, and kind of label people. But what we're trying to do is intervene in that by giving the education that's needed within there and changing the mindset of why do you think it's appropriate to abuse? Right. So instead of like kind of typing or kind of casting away, you're a horrible human being, you're a batterer, and you're never going to change, and all of these things, but getting to the root issue of why do people behave the way they do, instead of focusing on what people are doing, and then changing the way that they behave by changing those mindsets and being like, it's not appropriate. And if you're following, we talked about generational cycles a few weeks back, and following those cycles and understanding that education needs to happen in order to break those cycles.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that although we do all of our services from a trauma informed lens, I'm not saying that this is like a counseling or a support group. By no means. It's an accountability group, and it is the only service that we charge money for, a very minimum fee in order to do that. And that's a part of the accountability piece. If you're arrested for domestic violence charges and you need the education to do that, or to get that off of, like on a deferred sentencing, or you need that for your probation and parole requirement, there's that accountability piece.
Okay.
What the United Way funds is our lovely facilitators and our coordinator that is coordinating that program, giving the education for them in order to have the training that they need and to be able to provide that services. Oftentimes it's very stigmatized of, if we're going to give money, we want to give it to those that are only abused, right? And what I say is, we're never going to stop the cycle if we're not stopping it from all aspects. We
Right.
talked about the preventative work we do, we talked about the crisis intervention work we do, but sad to say that it usually takes a victim of domestic violence 7 times to leave their abuser before they finally leave, right? And that's usually within a 5-year time frame.
Okay.
That's long enough to start teaching our younger generations to perpetuate these cycles. So what we're hoping to do is go in at domestic violence from all angles, from
Yeah.
the crisis, from prevention, and then intervention to say, this is wrong. This is not the way you're supposed to behave. Let me give you some alternatives and some coping skills. Let's learn boundaries. Let's learn why verbal and emotional abuse is not good. And let's learn some alternatives to that. Let's learn how to communicate effectively. Let's learn these healthy relationship skills so that our go-to isn't abuse and violence.
Right. And it is hopefully breaking that cycle, not only with, the prevention work, but if, say, I'm someone who has abused my partner and my partner leaves me, but then I just go on to my next relationship. If I haven't learned that there's other ways to be in a relationship, chances are I'm going to abuse my partner in that next relationship.
Yes, and not all domestic violence is like criminalized or you don't go to jail, right? So you can't go to jail for name callings. I mean, maybe you can, but typically if you call the police and you're like, someone just called me all these names or
Correct.
doing these things, it's very hard to get an arrest out of certain types of abuse, right? They don't always meet those state statutes. However, it's perpetuating this cycle and it doesn't make it less violent. And then understanding that, it's sad to say, but I have some people that we're serving that are like 5, 7, 8-time abusers, and they know what to do to not get arrested, or once that's getting to that point, they go on to their next person to abuse the next person. And it's just trying to attack this problem from all different angles so that we could make our community better.
Well, that is wonderful. So I know you said you're revamping this, so maybe you can't answer this today, but for people who are listening who think this is like a quick one and done, this isn't just one class that they attend, right?
No, it isn't. It's a 26-week program, and we do see ourselves relaunching in July. So we did take a couple months to get everybody trained, and we're actually, we did some training yesterday on this program again, and just new ways of seeing things, and also focusing more on restorative justice. So just getting up to date to where we should be, because we should always want the best for our community, and understanding that we always have room to learn and grow. And this is what we've been doing the last couple months, is learning more and growing this program to what it should be. 26-week program though, you're right, it's a long commitment, and the majority of people are not here willingly. We understand that. It's through the good relationship we have with our district attorney's office and our criminal justice system, and also with probation and parole. However, there are people who do sign up for that programming because they want to be better, and they've been successful.
Wonderful. So if I am somebody, as my previous example, where I have been the abuser in my relationship and I have not gone through the justice system, but think, okay, maybe I need to be a better role model for my kids. Maybe I need to learn something different. How would I contact you to learn more about this?
You call 920-743-8785. Our main phone number for our main business line, and we'll get you connected to Cassie Hitzman, our new DVIP coordinator, and Quinn Lundquist, our new co-facilitator.
Wonderful. Well, this is just a great service. And I think these 3 videos all together for our viewers are really showing how it's not just domestic violence that Help of Door County is dealing with. It's taking care of the children, it's taking care of the community trauma, and then in this case, really trying to teach different behaviors, teach different ways to handle emotions, so that hopefully some of those cycles can be broken.
Yeah, and dismantling oppression and violence within our community by doing that and the roots of those violence. And that's where we talk about, like, a lot of times people will say, why are you guys speaking on racism? Why are you guys speaking on poverty? Why are you guys speaking on generational trauma? This is why, because domestic violence cannot exist with oppression and violence in other forms. So these are the roots. Anytime where we're not paying attention to that, we are continuing and perpetuating violence. And unfortunately, domestic violence is in every community. It affects every person, every race, every social economic class. It affects everybody, every ability, everybody.
Well, Millie, thank you so much for this information. And as you know, because it's your third interview, we end our interviews by talking about ALICE. So ALICE is asset limited, income constrained employed. Folks who aren't making enough money to really feel stable and secure, who are above the poverty level and might be receiving some benefits from state and county programs yet, but really aren't there to say, I can comfortably pay my bills and put money away for a rainy day. So Millie, what is an example of how Help of Door County is supporting ALICE in our community?
Yeah, so another way that we support our ALICE community with this program specifically is making sure that we're doing payment programs and making sure that we're keeping that cost at a very minimum. So we do go over and we are very flexible with the cost, and understanding, like, you're not gonna come here and get that service for free. That's part of the accountability of, this is a consequence of your behavior. However, we're very flexible within that, and we do work with folks. And that's something that the Door County Jail and our partners over there also help, is that we give a lot of this programming for free, educational programming, like not through an accountability source though, right? But if you're already in jail or you want to learn about these services, we offer these for free, so that you don't end up in jail. And if you do, then you get our programming in there for free. However, you don't have to get arrested in order to change, right? So knowing if ahead of time, if I need that, I need to know what's healthy and what's not healthy. I need to know different coping skills. I need the skill set. Come and find an advocate, call us at that 920-743-8785, and we will plug you in and give you the domestic violence education in a different way, in a different form.
Wonderful. So essentially what you're saying is there's a fee for this program every week that I would come of the 26 weeks. But if maybe I only got $3 on me this week, you'll take that $3 and set up a payment plan for
Absolutely.
me to catch up.
Absolutely. So in order not to stop, don't stop getting the services that you need in order for that fee. We'll figure something out and we'll be very flexible.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Millie, for everything that you guys do. We really appreciate it. And it's been great just spending time with you in these 3 interviews, learning so much more about Help of Door County. All right, you take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.